everyone, Jexie here. Welcome back to another video. So in today's video, I thought we'd talk a little bit about language of recovery, specifically why you don't hear addicts use the word sober and why it gets to be such a weird thing when you go to 12-step meetings and use the wrong words. Okay, so the term sober has been around for quite some time, and it's used often to describe people in recovery. However, the definition of sober is very specific. The definition of sober is not drinking alcohol. Sober has nothing to do with drugs. If you were to tell somebody that I'm sober, all it means is that you are not drinking. So addicts needed a word that described being off drugs because there wasn't one. There isn't a word in the English language that's devoted to just talking about staying off drugs the same way there is for staying off alcohol. So addicts use the word clean, meaning free from any mood or mind altering substances, right? It's the closest thing that can be described, to use to describe what an addict feels, because we don't, if you're a drug addict, you may have problems with alcohol, you may have problems with marijuana, you may have problems with heroin. It doesn't matter, right? Your drug of choice doesn't matter. It's the fact that you suffer from addiction. So in order to come up with a term that means you're not using any substance, we use the word clean, right? Now, why does this matter in any way? Well, it doesn't. However, it does matter when it comes to 12-step programs. 12-step programs are a little funny about things, and I'll tell you why. So if you are an AA, and you say that you would introduce yourself as an alcoholic. You would say that you are currently living sober, right? That definition, alcoholic, means somebody who is addicted to alcohol. They suffer from the disease of addiction, but they are only talking about their addiction to alcohol. When they say that they're sober, that means they are no longer drinking alcohol, right? So if you go to an NA meeting, people say, my name is this, I'm an addict, meaning that an addict is just somebody who suffers from the disease of addiction. So an addict could be somebody who is only addicted to alcohol, but they could still be considered an addict. An addict encompasses that, whereas alcoholic can only be used to describe somebody who is addicted to alcohol, okay? So the reason that it comes up in meetings sometimes is when people in either 12-step fellowship say that they are both an alcoholic and an addict. Now, if you are in an AA meeting and you say, I'm an alcoholic and an addict, the reason that a person is doing that is because they feel that saying that they're an alcoholic isn't descriptive enough to describe them, so they're giving extra information, right? Now, how people feel about that is a completely different thing, but when you are at an NA meeting, to say that I am an addict and alcoholic is a little bit silly. And the reason for that is because when you say you're an addict, you're already implying that you have a problem with addiction. So you don't need to then say you're also an alcoholic, because all you're doing there is saying that you're an addict twice and just clarifying what your drug of choice was. That's like saying I'm an addict and a heroin addict, or I'm an addict and a cocaine addict, right? Like, you wouldn't say that. You wouldn't need to, right? Saying you're an addict is enough. The same thing goes for the terms clean and sober, right? There is no reason to say the words clean and sober. Sober means you're no longer drinking. Clean means you're not taking any substances, including alcohol. So it's like saying, like, I'm clean and I'm not shooting dope. I'm clean and I'm not snorting cocaine, right? You don't need to say that. If you're clean, it automatically implies that you're not drinking, that you're not, taking anything else. So to say I'm clean and sober in a group of addicts. Now, again, if you say that in an AA meeting, again, I'm not talking about whether people will be upset with what you say, but if you're saying I'm clean and sober in an AA meeting, what you're saying is yes, I'm no longer drinking, but I'm also changing my life with other substances, right? So because AA is only about alcohol, the use of double terms like that, I understand why people do it, because they feel like they want people to know that they're doing more than just staying off alcohol, right? in NA, it's completely silly to ever say you're clean and sober or you're an addict and alcoholic. It's literally like saying the same words twice, you know? If you're saying you're an addict, you suffer from the disease of addiction. What drug of choice was yours is irrelevant, you know? Like, it doesn't matter. If you're an addict, you're an addict. And same thing with saying you're clean. To say you're also not drinking, right? Well, if you're clean, it already implies that you're not drinking alcohol, right? Now, perhaps, if you are a person who has been clean off of drugs, but decided that for you, the definition of clean does not include alcohol, and you've been drinking for years after that, and now you're finally stopping drinking, and you're saying, well, now I'm clean and I'm sober, well, then, okay, you know, that may be specific for you, but for the most part, that's why you don't ever hear addicts say I'm sober, because I need, as a drug addict, I need to do more than just be sober. I need to stop taking drugs, right? And I think that a lot of times these terms get switched around so much that they lose their meaning. And I think we have to watch for that, because there are plenty of people who are sober who smoke pot. There are plenty of people who are sober who take pain medication for whatever, right? There are plenty of people who are sober who put other substances into their body. And they're not being dishonest. Being sober simply means they're not drinking. And for many alcoholics, that's all they need to do to live a healthy, productive life, right? They don't feel that they need to change their life in any other way regarding other substances, right? And I mean, I'm not judging, I'm just explaining, right? So, sorry, I'm on a bridge, so we're a little bouncy. But anyway, so I just thought I'd give a quick video to explain, like, why you don't hear addicts say sober, and why, like, if you go to 12-step meetings and say clean and sober, that people may say something to you in regards to, like, it not being necessary, especially in NA. You know, a lot of times, and again, I'm not going to go into detail about this, but there are a lot of AA meetings who don't want people talking about drug addiction. And the fact is that as much as that may be the only thing available, and maybe addicts don't have another choice, the program is about staying off of alcohol. It's not about drugs. So if their group feels more comfortable only having people talk about alcohol, then that's the right of the program, right? In NA, it doesn't matter what the substance is, because they talk about addiction. They talk about the behaviors. You know, they consider drugs to be a symptom of the problem. So what drugs you did is irrelevant. Are you an addict? Well, then you're in the right place, right? An addict is simply someone who suffers from the disease of addiction. That's it. So anyway, I hope this video was helpful. I would be interested to hear your thoughts. Have you heard people use wrong terms? Have you seen people be confused by terms? Are you a member of a 12-step program, and how do people respond? And have you ever heard addicts use the word sober to describe being off drugs? Let me know. Let me know your thoughts, and I hope if you like this video, please like it. If you haven't subscribed already, please do. Thank you guys to my patrons. Thanks to all you guys who watch my videos. I love you all. Have a wonderful weekend.